with my thoughts on John Harbaugh getting canned after, I believe, 18 seasons with the Baltimore Ravens. A lot of success, won a Super Bowl in Baltimore. I think maybe won 12 playoff games with the Ravens. He's had a lot of success, and he got fired. And yeah, 18 seasons, 180 and 13 record, 13 and 11 postseason record, and a Super Bowl championship. A lot of double-digit win seasons, and it got me to thinking like, man, this is the thanks I get, and it made me think of an analogy between John Harbaugh and Dr. Dre. Anybody remember the song "The Watcher" that Dr. Dre put out? It was on the 2001 album. The album of Dr. Dre was called 2001. It was released in 1991. It was the follow up to The Chronic, and it had the song "The Watcher." And Dr. Dre, to me, one of the greatest lyrics in hip hop history, and I know I'm a critic of hip hop, and yes, but I'm just keeping it real. This is one of the greatest lyrics in hip hop history. We started this gangster, SHIT, and this is the thanks I get. And then it had the chorus, everywhere that I go, ain't the same as before. People I used to know just don't know me no more. And here's how I related that to John Harbaugh. He started this NFL RPO SHIT. He and Lamar Jackson popularized the whole RPO offense that has overtaken the National Football League. And yes, I know the actual correct history that Chip Kelly, coaching the Philadelphia Eagles, I believe in 2013 and 15, he brought the RPO from college to the NFL, but it really didn't get popular until Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh partnered in Baltimore. And now the RPO is the biggest thing in professional football. Everybody's running it. Look, the Philadelphia Eagles last year with Jalen Hurts won a Super Bowl with it. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs used some RPO concepts, but obviously Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh are the face of the run-pass option offense that has overtaken the NFL over the last decade. And this is the thanks he gets? He gets fired because, what's the guy's name? Tyler Looper misses a kick. He gets fired because in a year where Lamar Jackson was injured and missed 4 to 5, 6 games, and they finish, I believe, 8-9, but they play for the AFC North title in a game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It comes down the wire. They set up for a game-winning, foolishly, a game-winning 44-yard field goal that they should have been trying to make shorter. But this is the thanks he gets? They miss a field goal, miss the playoffs, and John Harbaugh gets canned? Are you kidding me? After all of that success? And it sounds like, according to different reports that I've read, that the breakup, the split, wasn't about John Harbaugh. It was about John Harbaugh's loyalty to Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator. The Baltimore Ravens wanted Monken fired, and John Harbaugh wouldn't do it. And they said, okay, well, we'll have to fire John Harbaugh. And according to the reports, it seems Lamar Jackson had no problem with John Harbaugh. His problem is with the OC. But it cost John Harbaugh his job. That's the thanks he gets for popularizing the RPO offense. And then I want to go to the next layer of this where I think it's really, really important. Harbaugh getting fired puts incredible pressure on Mike Tomlin. If John Harbaugh can get fired with that record and what he and Lamar Jackson have brought to the forefront with the RPO offense, Mike Tomlin has to be on the clock. Has to be. It's the pressure now switches to Tomlin in this game this weekend, Saturday, I believe. No, it's Monday. No, yeah, Pittsburgh, yes. They play the Houston Texans on Monday. The pressure on Mike Tomlin, let's change the lower third. The pressure on Mike Tomlin is now intensified incredibly. How is Mike Tomlin going to survive if he loses to the Houston Texans? If you can fire John Harbaugh, you can fire anybody. And the laundry list of excuses for Mike Tomlin and the people with the cries of racism for Mike Tomlin, you can't do that now if John Harbaugh can get fired. And we know that the entire conversation about John Harbaugh, if he were one of these protected black coaches, the whole conversation would be completely different. Completely different if John Harbaugh was one of the protected black coaches. He would be just like Mike Tomlin, virtually untouchable, or if he were fired, there would be screams of racism. There are no screams of racism as it relates to John Harbaugh. He appropriately got dismissed, and I know some people are upset. I saw where Tony Dungy and other people were like, hey, how can John Harbaugh get dismissed? He had an 18-year run. He's probably averaged, let's just average it out, $5-6 million a year. I'm sure at the end he's making more than that. But guys made close to $100 million or $150 million as the coach. There's nothing unfair with the Baltimore Ravens moving on from John Harbaugh after giving him 20 years to get right and to win, and look, get right's a bit of an overstatement, but after giving him basically 2 decades to lead the franchise, these aren't Supreme Court positions. These organizations have a right to move on at some point. They moved on from Brian Billick. He won him a Super Bowl or was there on the scene as Ray Lewis and that defense won him a Super Bowl. They moved on from him. Look, the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't fire Bill Cowher, but they moved on from him, and the exact same thing will happen to Mike Tomlin if he is not able to deliver against the Houston Texans with Aaron Rodgers. And so you thought, we got this little graphic about what happened with John Harbaugh as it relates to the missed field goal. You got, if it's to the left, Harbaugh fired. If it's down the middle, Mike Tomlin's fired. If it's to the right, Harbaugh fired. Well, I'm just telling you, Mike Tomlin on Monday night is coaching for his life once again. John Harbaugh, and a lot of people around the NFL shocked, surprised, his level of success, and particularly when you find out that he and Lamar Jackson don't have a problem, it's over the OC. It's really shocking that Harbaugh gets fired here, and now it opens the door for Mike Tomlin, and no one can complain. Although, I'll just add this. I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers have the stomach to fire. I think they have been captured by the Rooney Rule, which has the name of their family, the Rooney family that owns the Pittsburgh Steelers. It has their name. They're captured by that, and they live in fear of firing Mike Tomlin and of getting crossways with the Rooney Rule. So, fascinating start to the week, or to the middle of this week in the hiring cycle. They waited a day, fired John Harbaugh on a Tuesday, not on Black Monday, but they had conversations, and I think they had the conversations, according to all the reporting, so they could figure out, hey, what's John Harbaugh willing to do about correcting this offense, satisfying whatever Lamar Jackson wants in an offensive coordinator. And John Harbaugh fell on his sword, which is an indication that perhaps John Harbaugh was ready to move on. There are reports that 7 teams contacted him within 45 minutes of him being fired. 7 teams. There's only the Ravens are one of these 7 teams with an opening. They're not going to rehire him. So clearly, someone that doesn't have an opening has contacted John Harbaugh and his agents about the possible. And I guess there's a possibility. Hey, does John want to come here and be our special teams coach or assistant head coach? Maybe that's a possibility. But maybe there's some team out there that still hasn't fired its head coach that would if they thought John Harbaugh was available. Let's speculate on who that might be. Would that be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, perhaps? Would they get rid of Todd Bowles if they thought Harbaugh was available, or if they thought Harbaugh would come there? The early speculation is that Harbaugh is now the leading candidate ahead of Kevin Stefanski for the New York Giants job, that Harbaugh likes Jackson Dart and may be headed to the New York Giants. If I'm the Giants and I believe in Jackson Dart, I hire Kevin Stefanski. And I know that Harbaugh has the better resume. Harbaugh might even be the better head coach at this point. But I would hire Kevin Stefanski if I'm going all in on Jackson Dart. I would hire an offensive-minded coach. Harbaugh, I'm not knocking him, but his background is special teams. That's how he elevated into the head coaching position. I'm not putting a special teams coach and someone that's got to bring in an offensive coordinator to work with this young quarterback that I believe in when Kevin Stefanski's out there and available.